So in the previous video, I talked about how there's been a lot of rumors about 11th edition and what it will mean, and what the main focus of the antagonist of that edition will be, at least for the first half, because we all know the Tyranids were the overarching enemy of 10th edition, right? The Third Tyrannic War was the major overarching threat to the Imperium, right? It wasn't overshadowed by the Pariah Nexus or Chaos for the umpteenth time. I thought I'd stay silent just to let the point sink in a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, again, before we go any further, these are just rumors, and I'm going to talk about like not so much in-game, but more like the narrative of what that means for the Warhammer universe as a whole. So we're gonna talk about that. So the rumor is, and again, these are all rumors, so you got to take it all with a grain of salt. But the rumor is right now that the orcs are going to be the big villain, the big bad of this edition. Basically, Gazgathol is going to be mounting the biggest waw since the War of the Beast. That's what it's apparently going to be, is that Gazgathol is headed back to Armageddon again. You may be thinking, why do the orcs keep going back to Armageddon? What is their obsession with it? Like, why do the orcs want Armageddon so bad? Because technically, Armageddon is the orcs' homeworld. It was their homeworld eons ago. So the orcs have a connection to it. But more than that, I don't think they realize that that's their homeworld. It's more along the lines of Armageddon gives the best fights. Like, that's what the orcs have more or less learned, is that Armageddon gives them the best fights out of anyone else in any other planet. So they love going there just for fighting. But the other reason why it's so important that the Imperium holds on to Armageddon is because it's basically a backdoor into the Imperius Segmentum. More or less, you control Armageddon, you more or less have a straight shot into the Sol system, and right at Holy Terra, Earth. So that's kind of important. So the orcs don't realize that. They just want it because it's a good fight. But I'm sure like the Imperium doesn't see it that way, so they're all fighting there. Now, the big thing is that, yeah, I like the idea of the orcs being, the big threat for at least this half of the edition. I always prefer having Xenos as threats because I find the Xenos races more interesting than Chaos again and again and again. I grow tired of Abaddon's 13th failure. But yeah. So what does that ensue? Like, what would that mean for... what are the other rumors if the orcs are headed for Armageddon again, if Gazgathol's back? So the leading rumor is that the Blood Angels the Blood Angels and the Crimson Fists are going to play a big role in this narrative. Let's talk about the Crimson Fists first, because if any chapter has a real axe to grind with the orcs, it's the Crimson Fists. It is because of what happened in Rin's world, and I think that would be really cool to have, because now the Crimson Fists have been restored. For the most part, because of Gilliman's Primaris Marines renumbering that chapter again. So I'd imagine Pedro Cantor would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so in for a fight." Like I think that'd be really cool. Like to have the Crimson Fist be kind of a major aspect of the narrative again, because Rin's World was the first major narrative of Warhammer 40k. So. To have the Crimson Fists go head-to-head with the orcs again would be really awesome to see. And the Blood Angels is going to be fascinating because I think I think it's time to have some stuff that isn't Ultramarines, even though I'm not, I like the Blood Angels, I like the Crimson Fists, they're one of my favorite successor chapters, but all of this sounds good because, doesn't sound like we're going to have any Ultramarines in here, at least for the most part. I'm tired of the Ultramarine overexposure. I don't hate the Ultramarine. Goddamn chair. I don't hate the Ultramarines. There's other Space Marines. And would I like to see my boys, the Salamanders, here? I would love to see that, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But getting back on point is that with the Blood Angels, could it mean Lion is going to make it to the other side past the rift? Because remember, Lion and Dante and his Blood Angels found Lion and the Dark Angels. So could it be that the Blood Angels are going to arrive with the Dark Angels maybe to Armageddon, and Lion is going to finally be on the other end of that galaxy, and now Gilliman can find Lion again? As much as I that's one thing all of us have been begging for, to have Lion and Gilliman reunited again. Even more so than Primarchs returning. Although I am very convinced that the next Loyalist will probably be Lehman, who also, I'm going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, could that mean that with the Blood Angels coming in, could that mean that Lion is going to be leading that Dark Blood Angel group against Gazgathal's Wa? Possibly. I can't confirm it, but it'd be a cool image. But please, don't let it be Lion who fights Gazgathal. Yarrick needs to come back. Like I just said, Yarrick's death is one of the most insulting moments for Warhammer fans, of just having him die off panel. Look, same with Chiron and Akron. But Yarrick, if you want Yarrick to return, the rumors of his demise were greatly exaggerated, have Yarrick back to face Gazgathal. I don't want it to be, Primarch badassery of, if it's Lion, have him come in and, fight and slay Gazgathal, or even Dante or Mephiston. Needs to be Yarrick. I also wish we'd have more of the Steel Legion, too, but it looks like we're going to get more Krieg stuff. And I get it, Krieg is cool, but, and even I like Krieg, and even I'm like, there's too much Krieg stuff here. How about the Steel Legion, or, I don't know, more Kazarkin? Just a thought. Anyway, I'm getting off point. So yeah, now, the other thing is, a lot of people have been saying the rumor that Leman Russ is going to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return, and a lot of people were kind of throwing out the idea that the Wolf time is means the Orks Wa. So could it be that Leman is returned just in time to fight alongside his sons against this Ork Wa headed to Armageddon? That could be the case too. Again, there's no confirmation of Leman coming back, but I have this sneaking... It's after all the refurbs and refreshes and all the stuff they've done with Space Wolves, yeah, it just feels like they're telegraphing that Leman Russ is going to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return. But even before then, can we just have, Lion meet Gilliman first? Have them united again? That'd be too much to ask, GW. Apparently so. But anyway, yeah, I'm just happy to see some Ork Wa stuff and going back to Armageddon. I'm really excited. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Orks being the big bad of next edition of Warhammer 40k? And do you think the Blood Angels are going to bring Lion over to this side of the galaxy? And do you hope to see Lion and Gilliman reunited, or do you think it'll be Leman and Lion? Who knows? Anyway, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.